So I had this really interesting discussion with a client the other day, and it really sparked this very interesting and fantastic dialogue between the two of us. And I really want to uncover all that in this video here today. So basically, it really came down to how do you manage to have time for kids and run a business at the same time and still have it get results and be successful. And I'm going to tell you right now, it was a lot of hard work. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to hide that from you because that is pretty obvious. No one here on planet Earth is going to be like, that was the easiest thing I ever did, because it's fucking not. It was probably hell on earth for a little bit of time. And I'm not trying to say that in a mean way. I love my kids. In fact, I got two twin boys. Well, not two twin boys, a twin boy. They're just two boys. If I had two twins, I would freaking blow my face off. We won't get into that. That said, yeah, I'm a newly kind dad because my kids are about 3 years old right now. So I'm still going through my motions. I'm still trying to understand how to make this thing work. But I'm going to explain to you like what I've gone through and how this can actually relate to you, because I've tested out all these theories, all these advice that a lot of people have told me to do, and it sounds logical, but when I tested it out, the reality was completely different. So before I get into that, for those of you guys that don't know who I am, my name is Palmer Joseph. I've been in online space for about 10 years now. Check out my other videos on this channel because that'll help you understand like how I have actually built a business with a tiny team and a business partner from literally $0 up past 8 figures. And this is all just surrounding about what I've learned throughout that time and still going to the future, because I'm not someone that knows everything and I will still be a student at heart for the rest of my life. But this is something I want to help you guys understand, because there's a lot of people who are watching me right now that are probably in like my age group, millennials, a little bit older per se. I'm not even that far away from like the next generation down, to be honest. But needless to say, a lot of you guys are probably coming down to this point in your life where you're like, should I have kids? I'm running a business. I want to make more money, but my wife or my girlfriend wants to have kids, or even you yourself as a man, if you're a man, want to have kids yourself. What do I do? How do I make that work? How do I manage my time? How do I keep on getting results? How do I yada, yada, yada? So I've gone through the exact same thing as you. I'm going to tell you right now. This is everything that I've learned. So hopefully something here will stick with you and help you understand like how you can progress throughout your journey as an entrepreneur and still make a lot of money and make yourself happy, because things will change as you progress. We are going through phases in life, and this is my phase right now. And as I get into the end of this video, I'll explain to you how I have shifted my mindset, because I kind of had an epiphany through that discussion as to how I want to progress into my future with this business. So that being said, let's get into what most people will tell you. And here is everything I'm going to tell you right now. Chances are, if you are someone who's considering have kids, or you already have kids, you probably heard them yourself too. And I'm going to tell you right now, they did not work. So biggest one is wake up earlier. No shit. I wake up at 6 a.m. every single day. Waking up at 4 is not going to make a big difference. In fact, you need to have more sleep. As a parent or a new parent, you definitely need to have more sleep, because your baby, or babies in my situation have two, you will have a lack of sleep. And because of that, you will not do good work. If you don't have good work, it will make bad results. And it just compounds into this massive pile of shit that you don't want to have happen to you. And so that in itself was completely debunked the very first week. And it was just like, why the fuck did this person tell me this stupid ass shit? But I came down to understanding that the people who told me, even though there's so many of them, they're not really entrepreneur minded. And I'm not trying to say this in a dick way. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm not trying to be cocky about this whatsoever. It's just you as an entrepreneur, since you're watching this, I'm pretty sure you're thinking about business. You want to make more money, all that kind of jazz. You already think like an entrepreneur. And because of that, you have a very different mindset, a very different outlook as to how you want to see things progress in your life. How a normal person, sees one thing, and how you see another thing, completely different. They don't mesh. They don't mesh. And because of that, testing it out as well just made everything just implode. Just completely didn't work. So the next one was a little bit of a step better, and it kind of made logical sense. It's like, why don't you get AI to do a lot of the work for you? Okay, tested this out for a little bit too. What I want AI to do is not doable at this point in time. If it was, this conversation, this video will be completely different, but at this point in time, it's not there yet. And here's the thing. It's not very autonomous to the point where I can just let it go and do this thing, because even if you try it with ChatGPT as well right now, you can tell it to do one thing and the results will be not completely off. It'll be sort of off, because it doesn't really understand what you're trying to say. And that's kind of like a loss in translation. So you got to give it like this really, really awesome prompt. And you can't give it a massive prompt and expect it to remember the whole thing as well, because it's just not at that point where it'll just remember everything. So it's not the AGI phase in life yet where you can just be like, it's like, I think Elon Musk is trying to build like this robot that can do everything for you. It can like wash your clothes and drive your car and all that kind of stuff. It's not at that point. Again, until it gets to that point, sure, but not now. So AI is completely scratched off. It helped a little bit. I'll probably say like 10% was relieved, but there's still 90% that was still not solved. And it still made a lot of difference to us that we need to get that fixed. So AI helped a tiny bit, just not enough to the point where like this made a lot of difference. It does not. So that's off the table. Next one was the most common one because they were thinking more of like a business-minded, more entrepreneur-like, is why don't you delegate and hire A-plus players to manage your business for you? Sure, that sounds amazing. And again, we were kind of convinced this was going to be a very good idea as well. And we tested this out as well. So our business, we actually had two A-plus players, amazing guys, dope as shit. They can run the thing inside and out, very autonomous, very easy to manage. They can just do their own thing. But here's the thing. What we realized in reality was that, sure, for a small part of the time, they were actually very easy to manage on their own. They did their own thing. We tell them to do one thing, they'll go off and do it on their own. And it worked for a little bit of time. But here's what the reality is after a bit of time. So a bit of time, I mean like after like 3 or 4 weeks when things start to kind of unravel itself. Because again, much like AI and ChatGPT, things do get lost in translation. So this happens to all of us all the time as well. So I can tell one person one thing, and how they interpret it in their mind may be kind of close to it, and they'll come up with their own interpretation and kind of make it adjust to their own mindset and their own beliefs, and they'll stick with that plan. And what happens is they'll go off in their own little tangent and do their own thing, and you'll come back to it after a few weeks and be like, what the fuck happened? Like, I told you to do this thing. And they're like, yeah, you did. I just did exactly what you said me to do. And you're like, no, this is a little bit wrong. And now we have to unravel this entire thing. And then that's just not a quick solution. It's not like a snap of a finger, it'll be back to what it was before. It's just not. So that in itself took a lot of time too, because unwinding something that has been like kind of just messed up for a little bit of time takes time, it takes effort. And that takes time off of you from working on things that actually move the needle in your business. And because at this point in time, you're just kind of like troubleshooting and kind of like reverting it back to what it was before, when you could have just been like, all right, here's what you have to do, and you kind of just manage it here and there once in a while. But having to let them go for like a extended period of time, not good. So the other part to that, even though that it is somewhat easier to do, and let's face it, if you're an online business, you work from home, you are not working like 16 hours a day. We don't. But putting that time together to relieve that kind of stress still took some considerable amount of effort. And the other part to that is, since they are A-plus players, you have to understand what we noticed as well was there were people that were headhunting them like all the time. You know how many times you had to basically not convince, I can't think of another word, keep or convince our guy to stick around because we like them better and we had a better like team atmosphere, we have a better culture, whatever the case is. But at the end, money will always trump everything. And at some point in time, you will come to a limit where you realize like, I'm not willing to pay that much money for someone because the other competitor is just willing to pay them so much more. And it's just completely out of the scope of things. I mean, if they're really, really, really like obnoxiously good, then yeah, you can probably be like, all right, I got to bend my ass and take it. But we didn't come to that realization. So that's off the table. And the last one was, can't remember what the last one was. But here's the thing. Let me help you guys understand the two solutions that actually worked for us, that actually made the biggest difference. It had nothing to do with waking up early, had nothing to do with delegating any of the tasks, and it had nothing to do with AI. In fact, it really boiled down to just one other person, not an A-plus player. In fact, this was like a D player at most. But it made the biggest difference. And so I need to revert back to having you understand, if you are someone that's already making like at least $10K a month, if you make more than that, fantastic, because this will relieve you so much stress. is that you need to hire yourself 2 nannies for the very first year. 2 nannies. This is exactly what we did. So the very first nanny, which is the most important one, which is a D player at most, D, because she was slacky as hell. I'm not even sure if that's a word, but reality is she kind of slacked off a lot, and that's okay, because this person she worked like a graveyard shift, so night nanny, whatever we want to call it, from 9 p.m. all the way up to 5 a.m. She worked that time, so it's completely backwards. So you got to pay more because everyone's got to pay more for a graveyard shift because it's like the most unglamorous shift in the world, and it sucks, and that's okay. But chances are you don't want to do that either. And even though she slacked quite a bit, because we can see through the cameras, but at the same time, she had to put up with a lot of things. But it was kind of like zombie mode kind of work, because all you gotta do is kind of just feed the baby or feed the babies in our situation, because we had 2 of them, and like change the diaper, burp them, whatever the case is. But yeah, they're kind of just like lumps of log for like a good part of the night. Most of the time they are sleeping, but again, since they're newborns, you got to make sure that they're fed every couple hours. And you already know what I'm talking about here. If you are a parent, you already know the terrible situation there. But don't get me wrong, love them. But yeah, that is by far the best hire we've ever had for our business, that has saved us so much stress, anxiety, and give us some more focus. Is literally just hiring a D player who managed 2 kids while we were sleeping. And the funniest part is is that I had a camera, and this is completely off topic, but we have a camera that we're not spying on a nanny or anything, because you can't really do much. But since there's 2 of them, one of them will be awake, you're feeding it, and then you put that one to sleep, and the other one will wake up, and then you put that one to sleep, and the other one will wake up. So you're basically working the entire night. It's just so funny. And it's like every single night, like give or take 1 or 2 nights a week where they both sleep at the same time for maybe a couple hours. But at the end of the day, it's like go, 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 go. But it's still just kind of the same motions. You can literally do it like half asleep. So that's why I say it's a D player. But by far, the best hire you can get for yourself if you want to build a business or still grow a business while still having kids. Best one, best one. The second one is the second nanny. Get yourself another nanny. So from 5 a.m. when the first one clocks out at nighttime, or a night nanny clocks out, the second one comes in at 5 a.m. while we're still sleeping, because we wake up 6. From 5 a.m., she works all the way to 3 p.m. And I know that's 10 hours, but two of those hours is basically just break time. And that's perfectly fine. We didn't pay her for those 2 hours. It's just a full 8 hours. So from 5 a.m. to 3 p.m. is when she worked. So she looked after the kids. But again, one of the biggest things is that if you're working at home, you don't really get to get away from the noise or the crying. So you kind of have to figure that out on your own, which I'll get to in a second here as to how I solved it. And hopefully that'll solve your issues as well. So the second nanny, from 5 a.m. to 3 p.m., managed the kids, fed them, changed the diapers, burped them, whatever the case is. Fantastic. Sure, having 2 of them at the same time for a good year is basically having 2 extra employees. But again, this really just boils down to, it's not permanent. If you're already making 10K a month, sure, a good chunk of that will go and pay someone else, but you write it off, man. It's not a big deal. It is just a 1-year thing, and after that, you're kind of in the clear, kinda. And then you can kind of just get rid of one, and you still manage one if you are okay with having 1 nanny. But it really depends on your situation with your partner, your wife, girlfriend, whatever case is, whatever you guys agreed on, because some women probably don't want to have nannies. Maybe, I don't know. I'll leave that up to you guys. But that is the biggest one that has solved the problem. The second one, because the nanny and the kids were in the same house as us, and they're kind of watching TV right now with their headphones, which is the exact same solution, headphones. So we bought noise canceling headphones, and so there's no crying. It just drowns out all the noise, and you just have some really low ambient noise where it's not EDM, it's not like rapping, it has no lyrics, it has nothing in there. It's just ambient noise, and just drowns out everything, where you can still focus, you can still have thoughts in your own head, and you're not being like murdered by like screaming and wailing kids. Fantastic solution. Highly recommend you invest in some. They're cheap as hell. They are now. But yeah, those 2 things on its own saved myself and my partner a lot of time in growing our business. And I really hope that helps you out as well. If you have not tried that out as well, give it a shot. Again, this really boils down to whether or not you can actually afford it. And I'm not trying to say that in a dickish way. I just want to help you understand. If you have some money to spare, that is probably the best thing you can do. If you don't, think about considering something you probably already considered. Your parent, your relative, your friend, whoever the case is willing to stick with you for a year, and you just feed them, give them a roof over their head, pay them some rent, at least give them something, unless they're parents or something, then yeah, whatever the case is. But if you don't have parents around, then you're kind of out of luck and you gotta find some other solution. Appreciate our friends already. Neither here nor there. But yeah, those are the two solutions. So I want to come back to the very beginning where I said, this has basically given me an epiphany as to how I want to progress in this business, in this life, and how I want to see myself progress throughout the next part of my life in this journey here today. So I still want to be the person that helps serve people and help them grow their own online business, whether or not you are just starting out or maybe you already experienced. I've already gone through the entire progression from literally from zero all the way up to a few million. If you are someone that actually wants to grow your own business, whether or not you're just starting out, or you just want to get past some bottlenecks, I want to help you out because I'm literally doing this for a very little amount of time. All you gotta do is click on the link in the description down below. You can join in. I'm making my program completely cheap as shit. And the reason for that is because I want to make it as little effort for myself, while at the same time being able to serve and support other people. Because what I'm finding right now is more and more people are having a hard time managing themselves, and I want to help understand that I'm here to support whichever way I can. And because of that, I don't want to be the type of person that just causes so much more anxiety, because let's face it, some people out there are charging like exorbitant amounts of money, like $5,000, $10,000. I want to make it as stupid cheap as possible, and I just want to make this for a limited amount of time. And this is just a phase that I'm going through. And maybe it's going through like a midlife crisis or whatever the case is. I'm just trying to figure out what I want to do because I don't have all the answers right now. But as of how I feel at this point in time, my epiphany came down to the fact that I just want to help other people. And I want to do it at a point where it is accessible to literally everybody. So that is why I made this accessible for everyone at this point in time. So again, very, very limited amount of time. I don't know if I'm going to stick this around for like a week. Maybe it's going to be good for a couple weeks, maybe it's a month. Who the hell knows? I just want to make this easy for people to get in right now. If that's something you want to do too, you'll get the support, you'll get the help, you get all my systems, you get all the processes, everything that I have learned for literally almost a decade of how we have grown our own education business to multi-millions. And it's all for you too. And this is something that I've learned from literally the best mentors out there in the world right now. Anyways, I'm going to stop talking about that. I just want to help you guys understand that whatever it is that you want to do, comment down below. I would love to hear from you guys. To the parents out there, if you are running a business right now too, I wish you the best of luck. It is going to be a grind. It is going to be one of the best journeys of your life, but at the same time, it's going to be tough. So, and if you are someone that's already considering and don't have kids yet, but just considering, hold off on it as much as you can. Take this from someone that's already had kids. It is not going to ruin your life. It's just going to make it a hell of a lot harder if you keep on going down that path. Until then, I'll catch you in the next video.